the book of Boba Fett to come out, bring us a little like Mando, like a teaser, like an appetizer until we can get to the next Mando season. Obviously, Pedro Pascal, very popular actor now and doing a lot more stuff. So scheduling conflicts are delaying a Mando season 3. And so we're like, we'll take this Boba story, and our initial review was we're interested to see where the season goes, see how the Tuscan stuff plays out, see how this like underworld criminal Tatooine lifestyle plays out. Well, we have the full season now. Did Boba live up to expectations for you?
No, it definitely didn't live up to expectations, but in the initial review, I also said that I didn't have high expectations. And I think that's
that ain't good then.
Right. Like if you just reckon with like the Boba Fett character coming into the show, there's not a lot there. He's a guy that's popular because he looks cool. He looked cool in the 70s, and that's why we like Boba Fett. That's really all it is. And in the meantime, books and comics aside, in the meantime, The Mandalorian season 1 is effectively what a Boba Fett show would have been. So, and there's a lot, everyone has a lot of a bigger relationship with Din and Grogu, obviously. So now to get a Boba Fett show in some form, even though he's not really Boba Fett the bounty hunter anymore, just kind of weird way to try and thread the needle here from Filoni and Favreau. So, yeah, I think it's a show that definitely was quite up and down. I still enjoyed it overall, but yeah, I mean, it has some clear flaws just from the basic like storytelling.
Yeah, I want to say, and I don't want to harp on this too much, but Tamara Morrison for me just leaves a lot to be desired as an actor, and giving him these like the monologue with like when he wrote out at the end his offer to Cad Bane,
Right.
And it was like this really long-winded wordy thing. It was like Boba Fett like was known for saying like 3 words as like every response. Like,
he's
where's
no good
this
to me, Dad.
from? Yeah, totally. Like, didn't make any sense. I also think like, and this is partially my own fault, but some of the things that I was looking forward to was really diving into like the criminal world of Tatooine and the Star Wars world, and they really like hedged on that, right? Where they were like, here's the the casino or the club place, and we kind of stop in every once in a while. That was some of the most like interesting moments, like seeing what was going on there, seeing Black Cranston just like chilling out, ripping arms off. Yeah, Chrysanthemum. I know I'm calling back to the Midnight Boys there, but I just I just feel like they had so much potential to explore things, and they kind of made it like a straight down the middle Star Wars. Like, I don't know. I don't even know if it's like really a character story when the 2 best episodes of the season ended up not being about the title character.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly right. It's not really a crime story. Boba Fett's no longer a bounty hunter. He's a crime lord inheriting Jabba the Hutt's palace and his subsequent territory and responsibilities. But it's not really a crime story either. There's kind of like filmmaking nods to like the Godfather and other like like mob convention and stuff, but nothing really amounts to like the other the Trandashans and the Qualish families and like Mos Espa and stuff. Like it doesn't really come together. They just don't really do that. And I think honestly, if we removed those 2 best episodes and we didn't have Din and Grogu and also like Ahsoka show up here, and we actually gave Boba Fett more time, I think that story would definitely have been improved. Now, I think a lot of people still really liked, obviously, what we got with Din and Grogu. So, mixed bag season with some like credible highs, I guess we'll take it. But yeah, like storytelling wise, they kind of just, like you said, they hedged. And I thought the Tuscan stuff ended kind of abruptly. I was super into that in the early going, learning more about that culture and the potential of just seeing like the Tatooine world more colored in. If we're going to go back to such a familiar locale like Tatooine, please tell us something new. And they started to do that, and they kind of stopped, honestly. But hey, we're going back to Tatooine once again in May with Obi-Wan Kenobi, so who knows? Well, maybe we'll learn something then.
Yeah. You know, I think one of the moments in the finale that summarized the lack of like, I don't know if it's storytelling vision or uh cohesiveness, but when Mando, points out to Boba like they made the smart call by not following through on the deal to not turn on you, like you asking them not to act, like they made the smart
Mhm,
call by acting on it, and he's like, they did. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like he knew that this was like the play that he's going with, and it's not even a good play, and he's just like, I was really hoping that this was going to work out. And it's like,
mhm.
it just felt like they were just doing stuff to kind of like bring characters in and bring these moments in, and none of it ever really felt all that earned. And then like I just also think about the scooter bike kids who,
Yes,
man,
the
that
mods.
was fucking rough. Like not only were those things looking super slow, but it just felt so out of place with the rest of the show and like what's going on in Tatooine. I just was like, that I
Yep.
really disliked that stuff. And I want to get through this because I do want to get to the Grogu,
Uh-huh.
Ahsoka, Luke stuff and the Mando stuff for after this, but just kind of getting
Right.
the downfalls of the show out of the way.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, at the end there in the finale, you have like the head female mod girl and the Moss Pelgo sniper girl going to chill and be marksman on the roof, but it's like you don't have a connection with either of those characters
You
at
don't even know
all.
their name. Yeah.
No, and like yeah, cool to bring in Moss Pelgo, cool to bring in Cobb Vanth again, sure. I mean, you already have a connection to Cobb Vanth, of course, having he had the armor in Mando, right? Makes sense, but like you're just kind of like setting all this stuff up, and you're not really like doing the work in like in a satisfying way. Like it like works, like quote unquote, but like it's not like super high level. It's just kind of odd, and like I think that the mod kids kind of reflective of that. Like they realized they had some kind of hole in their script here, and they just came up with something kind of lackluster, kind of obvious.
Yeah. Uh, well, so you mentioned Cobb Vanth, and I found some of the stuff with him to be pretty interesting because you get Cad Bane introduced into the story,
Yep,
and
huge.
I gotta say, as someone that does not know the Star Wars
Yep, Clone
animated
Wars.
series as well as you do, seeing him, I just was like, I don't know who this character is, but he's fucking awesome. And he was such a badass on screen immediately. The slowest walk in the world, but just so menacing. And for having maybe like 10 minutes of screen time total in the season, definitely the Dion Waiters Award for me. Uh, I mean, as someone that's more familiar with his history, what was it like for you to see him come on screen?
Yeah, honestly, a huge moment. So like coming into this show, there's a lot of theorizing about like what kind of lore stuff is going to happen. Are we going to get Kira and Crimson Dawn, from Solo? Something more recognizable like Black Sun. We got the Pike Syndicate, something that we've seen before, for example. Um, the potential for Cad Bane was certainly like on the table. I think people had thought about that, but to actually see him come out was like so mind blowing. And like as soon as I saw the figure in the distance, I knew who it was right away. Like my mouth actually opened. I was like, oh my god, they're actually doing Cad Bane in live action. It looked really good. You still had Corey Burton from the show voicing him. Sounded good. Uh, and I think that was a really cool moment. Definitely setting up, I think, the future for more of these kind of introductions from Star Wars past. I mean, Black Chrysanthemum, huge comics figure, but definitely a deep cut for most people. But I wouldn't be surprised to see other Clone Wars people like Hondo Anaka or Embo come in the future in one show or the next. So to actually see them pull off Cad Bane, and I think it actually lands super well, really cool. I think it's definitely up in the air whether he's actually good and dead. Not really sure. Uh,
You better not be, man.
I hope not, because he was still at the peak of his powers, and which was, at the time he was the best bounty hunter in the land when Boba Fett was a kid. So there's a lot of like synergy there, and I feel like they kind of left it on the table if this is truly all you're going to get between Boba Fett and Cad Bane. But I still left a huge impression.
Yeah, no, I thought he was amazing. I gotta say, I don't think he's dead. If you hear that beeping, that's just uh, definitely a sign that something's going to save him. And I think they're gonna quickly find out that he was very popular in the show, and they're gonna capitalize off that in some way. All right, so obviously, I think the episodes that people were most talking about this season were episodes 5 and 6, where you get the reintroduction of Mando in 5, and a lot of Mandalorian lore brought into that episode, and then episode 6, where you get to see Grogu with Luke on what's the name of that planet? I don't even remember.
It was unnamed. I believe it's a new
Unnamed. Oh,
place.
okay.
Yeah.
And Luke's making his trying to make his Jedi school, and Ahsoka shows up.
Yes.
Mando's there. It's that episode was mind blowing. But let's start with 5. Uh, the Mandalorian stuff. Where's how does it land for you? Are you into the whole like lore, and like do you
Mm,
follow the strict sense or the more
yeah.
liberal
Right.
sense?
Yeah, so I'm into it just because it's something that's been built up for so long. When you think back to the cartoons, the Mandalorians, Mandalore, the planet itself, the whole culture, huge aspect of Clone Wars and Rebels. So seeing like this kind of side of it that we've been introduced to in the Mandalorian, namely these I forget the name of their order, but they're like zealots basically. This is the way, keeping your helmets on, all that shit, right? I really like seeing this because it makes Star Wars feel lived in and like detailed and stuff. It's really cool. On top of that, you have the continuing this, lineage with the dark saber. I really like how the dark saber is challenging to wield and uh, kind of like heavy and slow, very reminiscent of lightsaber combat in the original trilogy, for example. So I like all that stuff, like the armor character, the Vizsla guy who he fights. Like I hope to see more of them. I would not be shocked to see us go to Mandalore, maybe in the Ahsoka show. Who knows? Like things are happening. Sabine, a Mandalorian character, was cast in Ahsoka, so I think we're headed that way. Um, but just whenever like Din is kind of interacting with that and just like being all Mandalorian ass, it's I think it's just really cool because it's lore that's been like developed for a while now. So just seeing more of it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I really agree with the point of like Star Wars as a lived in universe when you see people who are taking basically a religion and like utilizing it in all different ways, and like how do you utilize this mindset and these beliefs and these rituals and kind of fit that into your beliefs and what you feel is actually right. Definitely love that aspect of the story. And I thought the fight between Mando and the huge Mandalorian guy
Yeah.
was really really fun to watch. And then episode 6, dude, I don't know how they do it, but Grogu gets cuter every single fucking time. Like he is the cutest like creature probably it just in the universe at this point. And seeing him very reminiscent of Luke with Yoda, but the roles reversed. Training with Master Luke, seeing the flashback to Grogu on Coruscant,
Yes.
witnessing Order 66 going down. I couldn't believe it. And I gotta say, the whole Mando with Ahsoka, kind of explaining what Luke's doing with Grogu, and then Luke giving him the choice. I thought that episode was just phenomenal. And then you see who directed. It's like Dave Filoni. You know that you're getting some heavy hitting shit from him now. So,
Yeah.
what was your reaction to episode 6?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just from the jump, watching those like spidery droids build the Jedi
Yeah,
Praxium, build the temple, build Luke's temple that
amazing.
we you obviously recognize from the sequel trilogy. Kylo Ren will destroy this place one day, right?
Mhm.
But and at the end too, like I remember talking to people after the episode come out. Oh, what's he gonna choose? Is he gonna choose the lightsaber? It's like, he is clearly not choosing the lightsaber. I thought that was the most obvious thing in the world, because they are not having Grogu chill with Luke for
No.
20 years or whatever it takes until Kylo kills everyone. Like, obviously, that's not happening, right? But in the interim, you get what the Last Jedi haters always wanted: Luke being his master self at the peak of his powers.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty darn cool when you do see it, isn't it?
Hmm.
Um, I would like them to deeply consider recasting Luke, young Luke, if they're going to do more of this, because visually, I thought the face looked pretty good, but you can tell that they're like picking their spots with how they're using Luke in terms of how he speaks and all that stuff. On the other hand, maybe just don't use an AI voice. Like, uh,
It seemed
I don't,
very choppy.
yeah, it was a little weird. Um, but it's effective for what it's going for, obviously. Just really cool, and having Ahsoka be there, and having just seeing Luke and Ahsoka
Yeah.
interact as a friend to the family. It's like fuck, dude. Like I now we're not, I doubt we see Ahsoka in Mandalorian season 3. I think we're probably gonna wait until her show comes out next year
Mhm.
before we see her again. That's what I would bet on. But just her kind of being there, like kind of being cryptic and stuff, and like talking to Luke a little bit, I thought was really really big for people that have seen the Clone Wars, for example. But having Grogu, I think, to be a little developed now in his abilities,
Yes.
I think goes a long way. It feels earned.
Hmm.
Um, Before that, though, having Luke kind of force lift him along to move him around, fucking hilarious, fucking awesome. So many
Yeah.
little moments, I think, in that episode.
Yeah,
Really fun.
totally. I gotta say, like when Luke says it's more like he's remembering than I'm actually teaching him, I thought was a really like strong piece to like pull in because you see Grogu using the Force in such powerful ways throughout the first two seasons, and then even in the finale here, and you're like, he could be the most powerful force being in the galaxy, beyond
Yeah,
after Luke passes. Uh, and knowing that he didn't just like have this power, that he was in training, that he, being a 50-year-old, still a baby, but someone that has some experience, I think adds a little bit to that. And yeah, seeing his like pain, like having Luke tap into that Order 66 memory. I wonder if we'll ever get more of that memory, which
they're
would
thinking
be,
about it. They're definitely
yeah,
thinking about it.
which man, there's so much to dig into there, but
I know.
um really really exciting stuff. Love this episode. And yeah, the way it left, I mean, you're right. I think the choice seems pretty obvious. um but I gotta say, it really does leave you with a lurch in your stomach when it's like, I just want him to have the best car chainmail shirt and the lightsaber. Just give me Yoda's lightsaber. I think eventually he'll probably get it, is my guess, but
Mm.
I don't know. um Also, Luke Skywalker, worst babysitter in the world, just sends him with R2 across the galaxy to Tatooine.
R2 is
Uh,
pretty competent, though, to be fair.
Grogu is like the most wanted being in the galaxy at this point. The whole entire empire is out to get him, and Luke knows
Right.
this. Just absolutely, you know that Luke was pissed when he chose
Well,
the best car.
the Imperial remnant's pretty weak at this point, so in the
I
far
guess
reaches
Luke
of
just
space, one X-wing, you can manage.
um and then thoughts on the finale real quick. I mean, we talked about some of the shortcomings of the show in general. I thought the finale was pretty satisfying. You get the rancor moment.
Yeah,
um
Rancor looked really good.
I thought that was really really well done with like the monster movie like
Yeah,
setting. i, I do have to say, I feel like they made Mando, I don't know, almost like incompetent in ways in this finale. Like when he tries to like ride the Rancor, and certainly like he shouldn't have been able to ride it, but like he like doesn't understand at all like how that works. And then also like Boba Fett like gets all the cool moments pretty much, except for like Mando like basically meeting back up with Grogu. I guess there's also
mm,
a moment where he does use the dark saber to like cut that robot apart, but then it like throws him around. I don't know. I was just
mm.
like, it
Yeah,
it just seemed like they kind of doled him down to make or Boba Fett seem cooler by the end.
yeah, yeah. I didn't mind it. Again, you have to kind of like accept, like, okay, yeah, there is no other shooter drop. We're just dealing with the
Right.
pikes. Like you have to kind of just accept that. Um,
It really interesting choice to just send Fennec away for pretty much the whole episode.
yeah, that's for sure. I mean, in general, her and Tamara Morrison, in the
Mhm.
present day timeline specifically, don't really get up to too much if you really think about it. And
Nope.
again, that could have been alleviated if we didn't have the Mandu and Grogu stuff. But alas, it seems like the Favreau Filoni Star Wars verse, the Mando verse, if you will, going to be a little more connected than people might have thought. So it is what it is. Well, I guess it'll be really telling who is in fact in the Obi-Wan show. There's going to be Clone Wars connections via the Inquisitors already. We know this, but like, I mean, I really hope Ahsoka doesn't show up, for example. But like, yeah, Boba Fett, it's kind of like bonus material to me. It was not a show we had even been thinking about. It was literally like secretly announced at the end of Mando season 2, after all. So for what it was, it's fine. I mean, it's certainly no Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Let's put it that way.
That's true. Um, Excited for Obi-Wan to come out. We'll be talking about that when it drops. Do you think we get a Boba Fett season 2?
It's a great question because I don't know if we necessarily get a season 2, but there's a lot of things that will seemingly come back into play. Right? You have Cobb Vanth hanging
Mhm.
around. You have Boba Fett. You have Fennec Shand. You have potentially Cad Bane. You have Black Chrysanthemum.
Mhm.
They've introduced a lot of pieces that maybe will pop up in a different series, MCU style. Maybe that's where we're headed. Um,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know how much we need of Boba Fett moving forward. As non bounty hunter Boba Fett, we kind of don't need him. We have Mandalorian now, so I'll be happy. I'll be content if we don't get another one.
Same here. I'm hoping we don't, but Star Wars, you never know.